What's up, Singapore? We're here today at number 8, Lorong Bakar Batu. I'm going to introduce to you people a carpenter by trade. Not just any ordinary carpenter, but a bespoke one, specializing in handcrafted furniture. He gave up his place in a local university to focus on his business. We're gonna hear from him how he overcome his challenges along the way, and at the same time, he has promised me to teach me a little trick of the trade. Let's go get my hands real dirty this time. Let's go, guys!
Hi, my name is Joshua. I'm 29 years old and I'm a furniture maker. My company name is 25 Degree Woodworks and I specialize as a one-man show and I build bespoke furniture out of solid wood. So I started this business in about 2016, 2017. Initially it was a hobby. I started because I got my house and I had my own space to do my own building. So I started with coffee tables and benches and it got very, very addictive. And this is an expensive hobby to have and I'm glad that right now I'm able to pay for it by running it as a business. So I've always been a person who enjoys working with my hands and building things. I started building my own furniture and my God, it was the most addictive thing I have ever done. I discovered the joy of creation and from that point on there was no looking back. It was just a matter of finding the best avenue for me to make use of my God-given talents. Back when I first got started, I was a full-time student in NTU. I was studying in NTU. Prior to that, I had just gotten married and made out my CPF. So it was a lot of intermittent studying in between leave of absences, then you work full-time, make out my CPF, and then back to school again. It reached a point where it's no longer sustainable for me to continue full-time school and at the same time run the business because it's quite capital heavy. So there's rental that you have to pay and you need to keep bringing in the cash flow and it was very near impossible to do while studying full-time. So I took a break from that. I stopped NTU eventually and I've been doing this full-time since then. In starting a business, I believe that there's many different challenges that one to face. You have your supply, your sales, your marketing. But if I were to talk about the biggest challenge that I faced and the most significant one, it would be staying the course. I think the most important part of any business is actually staying the course and staying committed. So having the faith and knowing that things will pan out is not always easy to do, and that was my biggest challenge. So I would say that how I overcame it is not really me overcoming it myself, it's God taking me through it. I think faith plays a big part here and my faith has taken me through this. When COVID-19 hit, the knee-jerk response was the circuit breaker. And during circuit breaker, everything shut down, everything slowed down. No exception for me as well. I had stopped. And I took up full-time work actually at a company. And I was working in marketing for a couple of months as a contract staff. Following that, actually, things picked up. And that was really, really good. Like local demand suddenly started going up. I was building a lot more furniture. It was a very happy time, granted the circumstances, of course. But things picked up pretty well. The only downside I would say is that material prices have soared, as a function of the supply and demand. And right now we have a lot of demand and very little supply in the way of timber at least. So that was the only downside of COVID-19 as far as the business is concerned. Yeah. So in terms of overcoming COVID-19, like I had previously mentioned also, it's really about staying the course. There was no way for me to foresee the business would pick up. But thank God I stayed the course, and now that I am enjoying much better business returns. So what I absolutely love the most is the quiet hours in the workshop when nobody disturbs me and I just do the woodworking, the pure sawdust making. I love that. What I dislike about the business though is the back end. I dislike having to do the sales and the marketing and the AutoCAD. Not that I'm bad at it, or not that I make my dislike known. But I would say relative to the actual woodworking, I much prefer woodworking. For myself as an individual, I hope that I continue to grow and build myself up as a person or get built up as a person to better serve God and my fellow men. In terms of my business, I hope to continue building up the business and the reputation such that we become known as the best furniture maker in the country. Not that there is an objective best, but one of the best would be great. The first impact I would like to have is that I want people to truly appreciate fine furniture and understand exactly how it's going. So I hope to educate the public on what good furniture is. The second more important thing I would say is that I want to let young people all around know that actually blue-collared work isn't necessarily blue-collared work. There's no need for us to stay on the well-trodden path of following academic success and staying within that academic sphere. Working with your hands can be a perfectly viable option. I make a decent living and I can support my family just fine. And I hope that young people know that this is a viable option and they will keep the trade alive. Thank God for that.
Well, carpentry is one dusty affair, but it certainly rewarded one man. And once again, this is your City Joe Chris for Singapore One.